Hi there, folks. Welcome to another episode of Worth Collecting. Today on Worth Collecting, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy. Worth collecting. Worth collecting? Absolutely. Worth collecting. Worth collecting? Worth collecting today. Worth collecting. Worth collecting? Yes, it is. Now, I've been watching another gamer on YouTube lately. He subscribed to my channel, and likewise, I've subscribed to his. And this would be Watch a Gamer 111. And hello to you out there. Give me a bit of an idea. He started playing Final Fantasy on his channel and was doing a stream where he was fighting a boss, and it's a pretty well-known boss battle. But it got me thinking about what is the most expensive Final Fantasy game I have in my collection. And I've been collecting Final Fantasy since the very first Final Fantasy came out. I often tell people that it's the first game that I ever bought, and that's not exactly true. I bought other games before using money that I earned by saving my allowance. But Final Fantasy was the first game that I ever bought with money that I earned working. And it's kind of a cheat situation. I was in school and we were doing magazine sales, and I sold a lot of magazines doing these stupid magazine sales. And I ended up in the raffle winning a gift certificate that I used at Toys R Us to buy the first Final Fantasy. So that Final Fantasy game has a really important spot in my heart. And the Final Fantasy series is one that I have played for years, and I have collected all of them. Let me take that back. I've collected pretty much all of the numerical single player versions of the game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2. Not 11 because that is open world or multiplayer. 12, 13, 13, 2. Skip 14 because again that's multiplayer. 15 and 16, and then I started collecting the remakes and the remods. So by far it is the series of games that I have the most of, and they vary in price depending on which version of it you have, whether you have it complete in box or you just have it loose. And how many copies of the game they made. I have a couple of collector's edition versions of Final Fantasy, and I enjoy playing the game. So that leads me to today. So I was watching Watch a Gamer 111's video the other day, and he was actually playing Final Fantasy. And I thought to myself, what's the most expensive Final Fantasy game I have in my collection? So I started looking through the, collection I have down there and looking for, and it turns out that it's this one, Final Fantasy 3. So this one was released on the Super Nintendo, and you got to ask yourself, is it worth collecting? Well, that's what we're here today to find out. So if you've never watched the show, basically I'm going to play the game for about 30 minutes to an hour, and I'll give you what I think, worth collecting or not. So honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell on a game like Final Fantasy in 30 minutes whether it's worth collecting. And I've played all the Final Fantasies before, and this one is no different. This one goes for about $67 loose on Super Nintendo right now. Now, I say Final Fantasy 3. That's what the load-up screen said when it pulled up. And one of the reasons why I thought that was interesting is this is the most expensive one in my collection was because Watch a Gamer 111 was playing Final Fantasy 6, which is what this actually is. So if you're confused and you haven't played Final Fantasy, you haven't followed the series and how it came out, Final Fantasy 1 came out in Japan, came out in America, woohoo. Then there was a Final Fantasy 2 and a Final Fantasy 3, not released here until later. Final Fantasy 4 came out in Japan and was released here as Final Fantasy 2. I have that one downstairs as well. Second most expensive game in my collection. Final Fantasy 5 came out in Japan. We skipped that one, and then Final Fantasy 6. But they released it here as Final Fantasy 3. So 3 is 6. 2 is 4. Got it? No? Okay. Moving forward. So we're going to start a new game. This one's kind of cool because it introduced a whole bunch of things that really hadn't happened before, like the desperation attack. They would later change that to the limit break, which basically is kind of like a staple in the Final Fantasy series now. So we're going to start a new game here. So yeah, this is one of those ones that takes place in the future, but it seems like it's in the past. But that's because there was a huge war and magic destroyed everything. So now everybody's using steam and gunpowder, and they're building like steam-powered robots. And honestly, this game right here, in my understanding, is probably one of the penultimate fan favorites of the Final Fantasy gamer community. And I've never finished it. Shame on me. I played it through as Final Fantasy VI on an emulator years ago, and I got all the way up to the end, but I never completed it. And then I collected it as Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo 5 or 6 years ago. I found it at a decent price at a retro store, probably half of the going value at the time, so I scooped it up. So that's Vix. And it says Vix here because of a translation error, and that's Wedge. So this is a Star Wars joke, Biggs and Wedge. But because of a translation error, instead of Biggs, it ended up being Vix because they translated it poorly. If you know, you know. And that girl back there is apparently me. So a little background on my character. I guess she's a sorcerer and uses magic. Magic is frowned upon. But we're riding around in these steam-powered robots. So, like, kind of starting out, you're kind of OP, and then I guess they're going to take all your toys away. They do love to do that, don't they? Oh, here, you're superpower, and you have this awesome gun. Oh, you don't have that gun anymore. Whee! All right. And they're attacking me with a Doberman Pinscher. This is an ATB series. So my bar fills up, and they have a bar that you can't see that fills up, and whoever's bar fills up first gets to attack. Alright, Vix and Wedge gained a level. We got some gold. This is basically just a tutorial to get you ready for battle. So they're probably attacking me from both sides. Yep. Easy peasy. No, you're not going to defend the mines. I'm coming. I'm coming at you. And honestly, they made it so you can just click the A button over and over again, because if the enemy you're attacking dies, they'll randomly attack another person. That's not always the case in Final Fantasy games. Sometimes if you target an enemy and they die, you'll target nothing and your turn will be skipped. So at least there's that. So if you're a beginner, it doesn't have that difficulty curve on it. So I guess I'm trying to find an Esper in some games, or I don't know, all the games. Honestly, I'm not up on my Final Fantasy lore. Alright, game saved. Alright, so I'm in this mine. Now the battles are random. They're not going to show people running up and attacking me. I get a preemptive attack. So it'll go back into its shell after I attack it a couple of times. And if you already are set to attack it, you'll attack the shell and possibly take damage. Brew. He's in the shell. Oh, it's Brown Brown. Brownie is joining me. Hello, Brown Brown. Now we're going to attack it again. Alright, so I don't have any means of resurrecting my people. So now I have to be very careful because we're depending on Wedge. So it's not to say that there's not a bit of difficulty to this game. Alright, it's going back in a shell. So I defend it, so I took less damage. I've already been slimed, so he can't slime me again. And I beat the Welk.
You like Bam Bam?
So I find the Esper, and my whole team gets obliterated. So I was being controlled by this crown thing. So they take magic users and they turn them into slave weapons. And her name is Terra. We'll just leave that.
I'm Terra.
It's not exactly a secret, Dorio. Oh no. Uh-oh. I'm getting a pincher attack. Well, I was going to say they typically make you super weak in this situation, but I'm still capable of killing these guys with one hit. So I'm not so weak. What type of starting equipment do they give me? A mithril knife, buckler, leather hat, and some leather armor. There's an optimum button. And skills. It says I don't have any espers yet. I have cure and fire. Alright. Well, 20 minutes in. And my thoughts. So, going rate for this loose is right at 67 bucks, like I said, for the Super Nintendo. If you get a complete in box with the book and everything, you're going to be selling out around $400 to $500. I'm sorry, like $200 to $300. If you get a sealed new version, you're going to be selling out $400 to $500. A graded one goes for 7 or 8. So, you know, for a true collector that wants to put it on the shelf and never play it again, you know, you do you. For 60 bucks, you can get this awesome Super Nintendo version, Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6, to those of you who know, and have a great, enjoyable time with it. I've only played for about 20 minutes, and I'm probably going to play some more after I shut the video off. You know, the storyline, I don't know why I didn't get into it last time I played it, but, you know, starting off as a character with magic in a world where magic is shunned and being turned into a slave and, you know, having no memory of your actions. And then, you know, there's always some dark secret that you learn when you're playing Final Fantasy games. And, you know, who knows what it is. But, you know, so far already, I feel for the girl Terra. You know, she's on the run from the Empire, and her enemies and those who were her quote unquote friends are all after her. And, you know, obviously she's going to team up with some other great and powerful characters, and they're going to save the world, because that's what you do in Final Fantasy. That's the ultimate fantasy, right? You're the hero. Save everything. Unless you're playing strangers, which is a whole nother thing. But yeah, um, you know, if I didn't have this game and I came upon it for 66 bucks for the Super Nintendo, I'd definitely pick it up. You can pick up a cheaper copy, updated for various PlayStation consoles and other consoles. They've redone this a couple of times with better graphics, and I think they've fixed certain translation errors and whatnot. I can't remember exactly which edition Watch a Game or 111 was playing, but it definitely had better graphics than the one that I'm playing. So, anyway, like I said, just another shout out to him for giving me the idea for this video, unbeknownst to him, of course. But, you know, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And don't forget to check out his channel too as well. Adieu. Take a bite, Bam Bam. Bye-bye.